Difficulties in family, relationships, the breakdown. Where is the meaningful communication? What has happened to our family, our traditions, the way we think of all of what's going on right now? This has been a major ponder point in my life. Difficulties with our relationships and what's really going down and really what happened. And we're all in this together. It's been a few years now where we have seen some significant change in all the social norms out there and how it's pulled us away from our traditional relationships with our family, with our partnerships, with our friends. It's been a divide and a conquer. That's a perspective we can look at it, absolutely. you know and how do we reframe this? How do we look at these situations? What system of thinking shall we adopt here to regain some peace and some hope that not all is lost in this ever-changing time that we're facing here? The flow of this major change that's taking place in our society. And one can argue that things are always changing, and they absolutely, that's a little bit too loud, but ignore the music in the background. Maybe it's a flow, who knows. But we can argue with the fact that everything's changing all the time. And everything is always changing all the time. But there's been a speed up of the breakdown in our relationships with other human beings. And this is how we have lived for a very long time, is with relationships, with family, with understanding that we are meaningful together. There's been so many breakdowns, and it has been extremely heartbreaking to many of us that we've almost become paralyzed in what to do or how to handle this. And we're jumping for all sorts of ways to find meaning in this. But what's happened right now is the fact that social media has taken over and we have no face-to-face communication anymore. And and that leads to misinterpretation of what's going on, discontentment and dissatisfaction within ourselves, within our own meaning. The social media has made unrealistic expectations on those that have been sucked into what's going on out there. We expect so much more from people, and it damages our relationships. It's damaged our loyalty, our traditions. It's weakened our traditions with our family members and with the traditions that we've had within our family for generations. And I did a video a while ago about the old gods and the new gods, which the new gods are the human technology that we have out there, right? The technology that we're all consuming all the time, and you can't stop it. So it's weakened our bonds and our tension between generations. It's weakened all of this. So to reframe this and understand and try to get a hold on how we're flowing through this, and to stop us from becoming very hopeless and devastated with the breakdowns of what's going on. There's a poem by, it's called The Prophet, I believe, and my mind always drifts back to this, about the pillars of a temple that hold the temple up. And a metaphor in this is that families should be strong and supportive, but they should be independent as well. You see, and because we have had this stronghold within our families and our protection of our relationships, you know, that sometimes a stronghold has happened where we're not giving them a meaningful distance to come to terms with what they have to come to terms with. And while, if this makes any sense to you, and while we're doing this, is understand this is what is happening out there in the world, and we've all been almost taken by this new way of living. But there has to be a settling down of this, an awareness that we're all becoming very separated, and allowing ourselves to step back and take back our power and our resilience in these really difficult times. You know, it's heartbreaking when someone you really love ices you, when someone you really love disrespects you and is disloyal to you, and there's infidelity and there's all sorts of things going on. So we have to give this a chance to settle down, because the discontent is rising within people. The emptiness is rising within people. So for you to sit back and allow this distance to happen, but allow it with love, allow it without blaming these people for what they've done. You know, I know we're all looking for really big answers here, but sometimes the answer is you. Sometimes the answer is you, how you reframe the perspective and take a look at what happened in your family, instead of looking at them and blaming them for the way they handled the situation or didn't handle the situation. And to reframe this in a soft perspective and soft interpretations of what's going on, and allow your family and your relationships to heal through your acceptance that this is not personal. This is a collective breakdown that's happening here. And to hold the realistic view of what your family should be within yourself, you know, and send out healing towards your family instead of resistance. And that heals you within yourself too, because as within, as without, it's always happening in both ways. And the mirror is to turn it on you and say, okay, how can I change the situation? And I can change the situation by accepting it. I can change the situation by allowing my essence to emanate out there in a healing, good way. The Ho'oponopono prayer is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. It's all in perspective. It's all in perspective. And the more you get into this perspective, the deeper it goes, and the more your frequency will reach out. And that is how we heal this situation and heal the world, is by not being consumed by the tragedy and allowing ourselves to have some part in this where we are absolutely invested in the healing of our communities, the healing of our families. It's all about self-mastery. It's all about you taking the rein and saying, you know, this is going to stop here. This situation is going to stop with me, this blame game. You know, this isolation breakdown game is going to stop here, because it's not only society, it's the bubbling up of generational trauma as well. There's all sorts of factors to turn around and say, I'm going to be the solution here, not the problem any longer. You know, it's a hard corner to turn, but it is beneficial. And it puts you back in control by what you emanate within yourself out there. Namaste. I'll see you on the path.